Good day. So I've decided to get an oven. I put the power cord on that fits my shop's receiving end for, in this case, 230 single phase. What am I running on there? I think I'm running 30 amps on this guy. 40 amps. 45 amps actually. Doesn't matter. Device only takes as much as it's required in terms of current, but that particular outlet services the plasma table, the welder, and this oven. I don't like the shape of this oven, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch it this way and keep approximately the same with a little bigger, 24 inside, 5 feet outside, 24 deep instead of 20 inches deep. You know, the cabinet's 20 or whatever it is, 20 something, but I measured the inside, it's only 20 inches. 24, yeah, the depth, or a little 25, you know, fits in the kitchen counter. But I want the full interior to be 24 by 24 by 5. I want to take that, you probably know exactly where I'm going. The guts out of it, heating element or elements, and I want to put up a powder coat oven. Because I got a powder coat gun. And I've looked at reviews online. I've looked at the different ones that are, the hobby ones that are out there. From what I found, and I've looked a lot, videos and blogs for the most part, but the Central Machinery one seems to be the most repeatable. Now, I've powder coated in a commercial setting. I ran a manufacturing plant that did powder coating. I did it for years. And I've powder coated a lot. And I don't think a person needs to get into, necessarily needs to get into all the intricacies of how to powder coat. Powder coating is relatively easy once you understand the process and how to build and how to apply. You know, the foot switch and an air trigger and that kind of combo and that, you know, that's where people kind of shy away from using every single extremity on their body to do a process. But again, this is pretty simple. And we can imagine once you understand how to lay it down, what to do to achieve coverage, to stay around 8 mils in thickness, all that kind of thing. I also just bought out what they had in the store, just the two matte black powder coats, simply because that's where I would like to get started. I'm going to start to do it in parts and pieces, right? But at 5 feet in open height to the top, I can start to do, you know, I can blast that paint aerosol off of there. I've got the radiator shell under here. I can blast these and powder coat them in all the small brackets and pieces, and that's kind of what I'd like to do, especially on the front end parts. But it's just so convenient, and the finish is reliable and the finish is strong. I can't do the bomber seat and that kind of stuff because the oven isn't going to be big enough. And you know, determining the level of control that I'm going to have with this gun is TBD, right? I mean, is it going to fart and spit and all that kind of thing? I don't know, but I can obviously modify the tips and try to achieve the application that I'm going for. So I don't know if I'm going to start this project. The big deal today was that I wanted to drag this oven out that I got free off of Facebook. Said that it worked, everything worked. My only concern was whether or not the oven portion of this, I guess, range works and the display works, and the answer was yes. In fact, this oven, everything works on this oven. So if anybody needs any burners for an electric oven, give me a holler. I'll sell them to you for the what I got into this thing. Anyway, just a quick blog on what I am working on today. Hey guys, it has been a little while since I've posted. There hasn't been a lot going on with this. And as you know, this is done. I'm starting to clean it out. I got to clean this out. Got to get a bucket of cleaning supplies. I started on the interior, got that pretty well cleaned up. Changed the oil on it. Ran it out and drove it. It's pulling. It was kind of squirrely down the road. I thought, daggone it, a daggone Ford steering box. It's like the third one of these that has done this to me. Between the Bronco and this is, I just put one, and it's a reman, you know, but I just put one in here. But it all seems like they get a little loose, especially in the 80s when you had that, you know, super light steering. It seemed like no matter what, you'd get some sort of play in the box. Now, although it does have a little bit of play in it, when I brought it in, I did check the toe on it. This is a solid axle, but I checked the toe on it, and I was 3/4 towed out. And that would definitely give you the squirreliness. So I got that adjusted. The other thing is I made these hubcap holders and put the hubcaps on, but the hubcaps were rattling. You know, you'd hear them when you went over tracks and stuff like that. So what I did is you can see just a little hint of it on the back. I lined them with rubber, the same kind of rubber you get with fender flares. Just kind of a U channel. Right? So I just ran that in the back of them. So they'd be tighter, but you'd be hitting a cushion. Now, I haven't driven it out yet, but it sure seems like it's going to solve it. They go on really nice and tight. This is going to a show in North Dakota here. It's for me right now. It's a Sunday, and we're loading up on Thursday night and leaving on Friday for the next weekend. Over the course of that time that I haven't done videos, I did build a powder coat oven. It's an old Frigidaire oven that I took just the oven element out of it, or control out of it. I do have the light and that, and I might have done a brief video on this. I don't know, between that and Snapchatting and the other things. But basically, I put the broiler element and the lower element there. Oh, I don't have it plugged in. Light. Put a cage around the light. Put a hanger on top. And then I just coat stuff on wire. I should mention, recirculation system. That's just a fireplace. It mounts to the bottom of a fireplace to move air. It's turned on. I put a thermal switch in. There's the oven probe, but right here is the thermal switch, right? It's a snap switch. It goes on at 160 and off at 90 degrees. And so at 160 degrees inside temp, it starts to circulate. It sucks from the bottom, pushes it into the top. So we're constantly recycling the air, or recirculating the air. Put some cook stove or wood stove seals on it. A couple of cheap latches. And realistically, the only additional wiring I did is I put a door switch right here. And so remember, that thermal switch turns the fan on, then it's wired from that thermal switch up to the door switch. So when you open the door, the fan shuts off. I don't want to blow all of the heat out. It's a big oven for those elements, so I do a combination of broil. I use the broiler, which is just a kind of a full on the broiler element, to get it up to about, I don't know, 200 or so. Then I flip it over to the bake cycle, which modulates the broiler but runs the bake, but it's a smaller element. I get the recirculating fan at that point is turned on at 200 degrees. I start to move air, and then I just kind of modulate back and forth. I don't want to burn out the broiler element, but being that this is probably slightly over 3 times the volume of a regular oven, but insulated much better. This is all 3-inch, but this is 4-inch, and I put R11 in it, and then clad the whole thing in galvanized, just bent and formed them. So it's a nice looking piece. I mean, for all practical purposes, it does what it's supposed to do. So that worked out well. I got my what is it called? Central machine or Chicago machine or Central machine. Powder coat gun from Harbor Freight. I bought a couple of the matte black from Harbor Freight. I'll source it elsewhere. That actually is quite expensive. I think it was $8, $7 or $8 for a container. And you can do better through Eastwood and those kinds of places. But what I did do, I powder coated this top piece, and I'm sorry, I moved on a little bit. There's a better view. I powder coated that bottom piece there. And I'm going to slowly take and these fan rails. I took the cardboard off, got the fan adjusted in. It's just wonderful how that wound up working. These little brackets, they slide into a channel on the fan, because you can clock the fan and for different configurations of push and pull. But I rotated these 180, and they locked the fan to the radiator, and my clearances just turned out perfect. So that all worked out really well. The fan does set out approximately 3/16, 1/4 inch on both sides. Better be on both sides. But I'll have to address that with the grill, either modify the fan or address it with the grill. But the grill certainly is going to do it'll come out on a profile, because I've got way down there, whether I do a bulb or come out and sweep again. A lot of these came out and sweeped and then sweep down there. But, that's all stories to be told. I did, and I might have a little bit of a video on this, but I did mount that display out. So now, it operates like a mirror. So I can favor the driver or, whatever. That worked out really well. The unit comes with that adjustment and with a sticky mount on the dash, and I just modified this with a piece of half round to get that in. True battery in it, and I'm playing with the logic. I'm working with another son of mine works in the industry in writing programs. So I'm working with him to help me build a display, and we're trying to crack the code on the computer and go custom rather than something off the shelf. Don't know for sure where we're going with that. We might have to get something off the shelf, but he sent me a little executable file right now to see if we can start reading the PCM on this thing. And then I'm working on this. This is going to be a horn to try to get this. I want to get this into primer. It's starting to surface rust. And like anything else, you get into the summer, you get into the humidity, and things start to change. So I just bead rolled this, making 2 pieces. Haven't done anything on that side. I just tacked that side up. I got it tacked on in a few spots. I'll close out this side and get my basic shape, but I'm going from a square edge to round, and I'm going to make a horn on here. get that on and try to get that all primed out and do a little bit of body work on it and get that thing ready to roll. So it's done. It's in primer. These will get. I was originally going to go ahead and powder coat all this stuff, and I may still do that. The only thing is on that is going to need filler, so that may take me away from the whole powder coat thing and back into the paint thing. It's not the end of the world. Then I intend on disassembling all of this and powder coating it too. But I think what I'll probably do is get the hood built for it first, because I'd then be taping. Even though it's powder coat and it's very rigid, you still can scratch it, not necessarily scratch through, but you can change the look of it by scarring it or scratching it or putting a mark in it. So whether I get the front and all the supports done and all that, the radiator supports done, I might pick away at those, because it helps me get that thing dialed in. I'm trying to decide if I should just get a bigger bottom element. I can go up about 30%. I don't want to exceed the capacity of the wiring in the oven. But I'm looking for something that is in the similar oven that had more options, I guess you can call that. This was a very basic oven. It gives you a beep, beep, beep when the preheat is on, but it doesn't tell you what the oven temperature is during the heat up cycle. And I do have another gauge in it, meat gauge, or something like an oven gauge, but grill gauge, I guess. And that gives me the temperature so that I can monitor. Then I'm going to slowly chip away at a lot of this. I was working on the interior, but I do need to get on this so I can get this into primer. So I got to finish the bead around the fenders on the back. Remember, weld the bottom, block out the doors, and then get this thing in primer. So hit it with a little epoxy on the bare spots, and then come back and prime it out, So we are still crack-a-lacking along. So, but we're just chipping away at it. And when the summer comes, there are so many other things to do. So between fixing lawnmower, spraying the lawn, gardening, there is just a lot to do. In this case, mostly my wife, but we do a little bit of a garden here. So just wanted to give everybody kind of an update of where I'm at. We're still cracking. All right, so we're at the Prairie Cruisers Car Show in Dickinson, North Dakota. It's probably about 150 car show. It's a fun show. They did the valve cover races. Good food, great food actually, and some really nice stuff out here. Thinking, what is this? What is this? This is a Chevrolet SS. This is a 410 horsepower V8 powered car that looks like a cross between an Impala and a GTO. Just rare. We got my ride out here.
Well, maybe look what they did.
There are some
a
pile of rat rods. Some real cool rat rods. Just rows and rows and rows of them. It's a fun time. Good show, fun show. It's fun to be able to talk to people and have them ask questions about how you did and what you did and all that kind of thing. There's even
garage tour right
right there it is. A Tesla show over here with three Teslas in that group.
The ones that are registered,
kind of neat.
Where to go. Okay.
Kind of neat. Having a good time. Participating, getting ready for the
try to do varying.
It's not a poker run, it's a blackjack run. You got to get to 21. And then this show you stop at
That's all he's on.
club owners or club member
Got a Mopar. You guys own that Mopar
garages,
over there?
and then you get to go through their inventory, what they do, and then they deal you. And the goal is to go through 3 of these garages and get as close to 21 as you can to get your prize. So, fun day. Just walking through different guys' garages. I think you got a glimpse of what I'm looking at right there. And this is the paint, the interior, everything is original. This car, get out a little bit, this car sat inside a garage. After that, and this is a so this isn't original, this is a custom 429 Cobra Jet. Those are the taillights. Mohair.
That's a long reach one. That must be like a glow plug or something, isn't it? I would think so. Because there's nothing to... Auburn.
Wow. Well, sat up on the tour and driving down from where we were staying to the tour. There were 2 vehicles, 4 of us, going down the road, and in the other car, in this case a 66 Barracuda, they happened to be in this lane here on a 4-lane. They were in this lane, and they noticed this wheel wobbling. I had a vibration at 35 mile an hour on my speedometer, and it was fine up to about that. Then it was vibrating and then coming back. When they drove by, they saw this wheel wobbling. There's a number of miles on this vehicle, this truck, but I pulled this off. And just for context, it's just a Speedway axle. I've got a 5 degree shim underneath to get my camber, or my caster rather, and just standard drop, solid axle deal. But when I pulled it off, I could rock the wheel up and down, and it's kind of hard to do with but you can see I can hold the camera steady. There is, I wonder if I can find a place to set this. Oh, how am I gonna do this now? Huh. Okay. My kingpin is gone. It's worn pretty good. If you can imagine, this is, well, that's an easy 1/8 of an inch. Easy 1/8 of an inch. And that slop is all in the kingpin. The result was obviously the wobble, so now I got to replace the kingpin. I did last year. I experienced a little bit of wobble. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, and I went through that kingpin. I didn't replace anything. I just greased it. Kingpins are greased. You can see the grease coming out. I mean, I do maintenance it. But for some strange reason, I'm going through kingpins, and now I don't know if these dropped axles or, you know, it comes as a kit. I don't know if the kingpin is even hardened, so I'm going to pull this kingpin out and have a look at them and see if hopefully the wear is on the kingpin, not on the bushings or the barrels. Well, if it's the bushings, that's great. You know, I'll replace the bushings. There should be brass bushings in there, but I assembled this so long ago I just don't remember. Anyway, got another repair. So what an experience. I was disassembling the pin, which consequently is in spectacular shape. The bushings, which are in spectacular shape. And everything nice and beautiful. I mean, just beautiful. So how in the hell did it wobble? I'm disassembling, and again, I've done this a while ago, and I noticed this set screw. I can't move the pin. So I backed out, grabbed my wrench, and I didn't even need to, there's nothing there. Well, of course, backed it out a little more and pulled the pin out. You can see that. Let me exaggerate it here. There's a fair amount of clearance in there. So I took it up. I had a little play on that side. Took it up, turned the wheels the other way, and that pin was loose too. Cranked it down, play completely gone. So if you have a Speedway axle that's an assembly like this, you know, you've got a bearing on the bottom. You can have a shim washers, which is standard, you know, to cover the clearance between the two. And you got a little wobble. Don't do what I did. Don't take this all apart. Start right there. Crazy thing is it's a 1/4 inch pin, and that's doing a lot of work. So it just drives the pin up against the side. And of course the bushings are on these, so that's holding the pin tight. And I don't know, Loctite. I don't think Loctite's going to work because it's going to work itself loose. But anyway, got it. Just got to reassemble it. Wish I would have took all that stuff out of there.